What if I told you that 90 days from now, you could become unrecognizable to the version of yourself that's stuck, tired, scattered, or defeated right now? What if everything you hate about your current life is only 12 weeks away from being rewritten? Not with magic, not with luck, but with war, with sacrifice, with ruthless consistency. This is the truth. 90 days of radical discipline can do more for your life than 9 years of wishing, planning, or talking. But here's the catch. Most people won't make it past day 3. Not because they're weak, but because they're addicted to the old version of themselves. They're loyal to their patterns. They want transformation, but they refuse the pain that comes with it. You don't get to become a new person while dragging your old self behind you. You burn the bridge. You burn the script. You stop negotiating with the excuses that destroyed your momentum last time. This is the 90-day war. You wake up early, even when you're exhausted. You move your body, even when your mind tells you to rest. You show up, not when it's convenient, but because you gave your word. These next 90 days are not about perfection. They are about breaking the agreement you made with mediocrity. They're about showing your mind that it no longer runs the show. Your higher self does. You eat like someone who respects their future. You train like someone building a legacy. You work like someone who knows their name will mean something. No more scrolling through the highlight reels of others while your own life remains paused. You are not a spectator. You are a builder. You are the architect of the next 90 days. Understand this. Everything you want. Confidence, clarity, momentum, income, energy, respect. It's all on the other side of 90 days of doing what most won't. You don't need more motivation. You need a reason so deep it makes your hands shake. You need a version of yourself that you're so disgusted with that you finally say, I'm done. Done wasting time. Done breaking promises to yourself. Done living like your future isn't depending on your present. You've suffered long enough pretending you're fine. You've smiled through enough disappointment. Now it's time to rebuild. Quietly, violently, relentlessly, not for attention, not for applause, but because the life you dream of is already waiting for you, and the only toll required is 90 days of war. And make no mistake, this will hurt. You will be sore. You will be tempted. You will have days where your mind screams for comfort, and that's where the breakthrough is hiding. Most people flinch when that voice speaks, but not you. You get loud. You remind it that it had its chance, and now you're in charge. You don't need more time. You need to use the time you already have with precision. You don't need a new life. You need new standards. Because success doesn't show up for the interested. It bows to the upset. In these next 90 days, your life won't change by accident. It will change because you carved it from chaos. Because you bled for it. Because you didn't hit snooze when it mattered. You didn't check out when things got hard. You locked in. You reminded the world who you are. And more importantly, you reminded yourself. That's the reward. Not the money, not the attention. But the moment you look in the mirror and say, I kept the promise, I did it. Because if you can own your mind for 90 days, you can own your life forever. So start today, not tomorrow, not Monday. Today, write it down, 90 days, all in. Then move like it, breathe like it, speak like it, show up like the person who's already on the other side. Because that version of you, they're not waiting forever. They're waiting for you to decide. And let me be clear, these 90 days are not about achieving a perfect body or a bank account that impresses strangers online. That's surface level. That's noise. What you're really doing is transforming your identity. You're breaking the psychological contracts you made with failure, with doubt, with limitation. You're severing the invisible leash that's been pulling you back every time you tried to rise. Because somewhere along the way you started believing the story that you are just average or not meant for more, or that this is just how life is. And that story, it's a lie. A beautifully packaged lie wrapped in fear and routine and just enough comfort to keep you from running. But today you rip that lie in half. You are not here to exist. You are here to evolve. And evolution hurts. It requires you to become someone you've never been. Someone your old life may not recognize. People will say, you've changed, and they'll mean it as an insult. But you'll take it as a confirmation. Because yes, you've changed. You were supposed to. That's the point. You cannot live the next chapter of your life using the same habits, patterns, and thoughts that wrote the last one. You've outgrown them, and the only way to prove it is to outdiscipline them, outlast them, and outbuild the life they kept you from. So when the alarm hits and you don't feel like it, move anyway. When the progress is invisible and no one notices your effort, push anyway. When the voice of doubt says, just skip today, silence it with action. Because this isn't a game. This is your life. And you've wasted enough of it being almost committed, almost consistent, almost successful, almost ready, almost is a disease, almost kills dreams. And in the next 90 days, you will make almost your enemy. Don't look for motivation. That comes and goes like weather. Build discipline. Build rituals that don't ask how you feel. They just happen, daily, with or without permission. Wake up, breathe, move, grind. Create before you consume. Learn before you scroll. Speak only what builds and inspires. Starve your distractions. Feed your vision. If it doesn't make you stronger, more focused, more aligned with your purpose, cut it without apology, without guilt. You don't need more friends. You need more standards. You don't need more opinions. You need more silence. Because in the silence, you'll hear the voice you've been running from. The voice that says, you are meant for more. Let that voice guide you now. Let it push you through the boredom, the resistance, the plateaus, the loneliness, because growth feels lonely. But that's only because you're leaving behind the version of you that everyone was comfortable with, that version of you that tolerated disrespect, that laughed off laziness, that made peace with being unseen. That version of you, let them go. Mourn them if you must, but let them go. You can't carry both your potential and your past. You must choose. And if you do, if you really commit for 90 days, no exceptions, no excuses, everything changes. Not overnight, not with fireworks, but in small, brutal, beautiful victories. Waking up early, saying no when it matters, pushing one more rep, reading one more page, sending that message, finishing that task, staying locked in when your body wants out. That's what builds momentum. And momentum is sacred. Once you have it, you guard it with your life. Because momentum is what makes the impossible feel inevitable. So this is your line in the sand. You either cross it or you don't. No more halfway, no more hoping, no more pretending that your circumstances are the problem. They're not. Your standards are. And in the next 90 days, your standards rise. Your habits shift. Your circle tightens. Your focus sharpens. And your identity rewrites itself. Not with affirmation, but with action. Daily, messy, uncomfortable action. That's the price. And you'll pay it gladly. Because you finally understand the pain of change is temporary. But the pain of regret, that lasts forever. You will be tempted to negotiate with yourself, with your old habits, with the laziness that comes dressed as rest and the fear that hides behind logic. You'll say things like, I've done enough today, or maybe just this once. And that's when you'll need to become savage. That's when you'll need to remind yourself that comfort is a liar, that maybe is a virus, that just this once is how people die in the same place they were born, spiritually, mentally, and financially. You're not here to survive these 90 days. You're here to dominate them. You're not here to dabble. You're here to destroy the version of yourself that kept you average. You will not reason with weakness. You will not explain your standards. You will not shrink to be digestible to people who stopped growing years ago. Let them talk. Let them roll their eyes. Let them say you're too intense. That's the cost of greatness. Comfort is polite. Growth is aggressive. And for 90 days, you're choosing growth. So don't just commit in your words. Commit in your environment. Clean it, detox it, remove the clutter, the noise, the people, the apps, the entertainment that eats your attention like a parasite. Your energy is sacred now. You protect it like your life depends on it, because it does. Stop checking your phone like it's a slot machine. Stop letting every beep, buzz, and notification rob you of momentum. Put your phone face down. Pick your focus up. Give your undivided attention to what matters and let everything else rot outside your mind. You are not the same. You don't think like them. You don't move like them. You are not part of the sleepwalking herd anymore. You are awake, and the world fears people who are truly awake. When you walk into a room, you're not just another person. You're a force now. You're someone who earns their confidence through action, not ego. You carry a quiet intensity, not because you're better, but because you're disciplined. Because when others sleep, you work. When they talk, you execute. When they quit, you double down. And they won't understand you. They're not supposed to. This isn't about being liked. This is about being legendary. And the legend begins now, not someday, not later, not after the weekend. Now. There's nothing noble about holding back your potential. There's nothing heroic about waiting until life forces you to change. You've already been given the warning signs, the frustration, the restlessness, the boredom, the regret. Those were your alarms. Now it's time to act. Now it's time to move with urgency, like someone who realizes they've already wasted enough of their life doing it tomorrow. From this moment forward, you don't live in delay. You live in decision. You don't wait for inspiration. You build systems. You don't beg for approval. You give yourself permission. Because in 90 days, the version of you that shows up will either make you proud or make you weep. And no one else decides which one it will be but you. Not your friends, not your family, not your past, not your trauma. You. Every single day you wake up, you hold the pen. You write the chapter. You choose to break the cycle or repeat it. And the beauty is, if you're willing to give it everything, you don't need years. You don't need to figure it all out. You just need to go all in, one day at a time, one promise at a time. Stack them, guard them, honor them, until you've built something unshakable. The question is no longer can you do it. The question is, will you stop lying to yourself? Will you stop pretending you don't have time or energy or discipline? Will you stop protecting your limitations with logic? You know exactly what needs to be done. The problem is, you haven't been doing it. But that ends now. The old you is officially unemployed. Your new life has no room for the stories, the doubt, the distractions, the escape hatches. You shut them all down. And for 90 days, you live like you're being tested, because you are. The next 90 days are your proving ground, your personal battleground, and your ultimate comeback story. Don't walk into it half alive. Charge in like your future is watching, because it is. From this moment forward, you do not speak from your wounds. You speak from your will. You stop saying, I hope, and start saying, I will. You stop asking for permission to grow. You stop waiting to be chosen. You stop explaining why you're behind, why you haven't started, why your life looks the way it does, because none of that matters now. The only thing that matters is how you respond. The next 90 days are not for making excuses. They are for making history. Quiet history, internal history, the kind of transformation no one else claps for, but the kind that changes everything behind the scenes, the kind of work that makes your future undeniable. There will be no parade, no instant rewards. No one will come to save you or congratulate you on day 17 when you're exhausted and doubting. And that's exactly why most people quit, but not you. You weren't made for applause. You were made for impact. And impact doesn't beg to be seen. It doesn't need validation. It simply becomes undeniable over time. You don't need to announce your comeback. You become it. And when people finally notice, it'll be too late for them to catch up, because you'll already be gone. So far ahead, so locked in, so different. They'll ask what happened to you, and you'll just smile, because you'll know. You'll know what it cost. The early mornings when no one saw you, the workouts when your body begged you to stop, the cold showers, the lonely Friday nights, the book you read instead of the party you skipped, the plans you kept when quitting felt easier, the temptation you overcame, the weakness you didn't feed, the dark thoughts you silenced with action, the hundreds of quiet victories that built your new identity, brick by brick, rip by rep, moment by moment. That's what this is about. Not hype, not flash, not ego. It's about finally proving to yourself what you've always known deep down, that you were meant for more, that inside you there's a giant who's been sleeping, a fire that's been smothered, a greatness that's been postponed, but not anymore. You've waited long enough. You've suffered enough. You've tolerated smallness and silence and survival for too long. Now it ends. The game changes today. So write it down, say it out loud, brand it into your mind. 90 days, no compromise, no escape, no excuse. You give these 90 days everything, and they'll give you a life you didn't think was possible. Not just new results, a new reputation, a new reality, a new relationship with yourself. That's the prize. That's the revolution. Not becoming someone else, but finally becoming who you were always meant to be. So go, get after it. Set the alarm. Block the distractions. Break the comfort. Master the boredom. Embrace the pain. Track the progress. Do the hard thing when no one is watching. And when the voice of doubt comes crawling back, and it will, you don't flinch. You don't fold. You look it dead in the eye and say, not this time. I've got 90 days to become a weapon. Get out of my way. There will be days where everything in you wants to break the promise. Days when the bed feels heavier than your ambition. When doubt feels louder than discipline. When you'll say, what's the point? One day won't hurt. But that one day is exactly how the old you tries to sneak back in. That's the trap. That's the moment where champions are born or broken. When the pain of discipline peaks, you'll meet the ghosts of who you used to be, and you'll have a choice. Shake their hand and go back to sleep, or stand up, stare them down and say, I'm not yours anymore. Because this is what 90 days of war does. It exposes every lie you believed, that you weren't strong enough, that you weren't ready, that you didn't have time, support, resources, genetics, talent, all lies. You weren't missing anything. You were just missing relentless execution. Now you've got it. Now you move like a weapon. Now you wake up with direction, not confusion. You don't need perfect conditions. You create momentum through storms. You show up not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. And that's the difference between those who live by hope and those who live by decision. Hope waits. Hope wonders. Hope makes excuses. But decision moves. Decision builds. Decision burns the boats and doesn't look back. That's what you are now. A decision made flesh. A storm in human form. These next 90 days are not a trial. They're a transformation. They're the proof to yourself that you were never broken, just buried beneath distraction, fear, comfort, and doubt. So don't just fix your life. Reinvent it. Don't just work hard. Outgrow your old reality. Become the person your future is begging you to become. Be the one who never went back. Be the one who got tired of hearing their potential spoken as a maybe, and finally turned it into a certainty. You don't need everyone to believe in you. You need to believe so fully that their doubt becomes fuel. You need to fall in love with the silence, with the grind, with the obsession until it's no longer a burden. It's just who you are. And when day 90 comes, and you look in the mirror, you won't just see result. You'll see revenge. Revenge on every moment you doubted. Revenge on every time you quit. Revenge on the voice that told you you'll never change. That voice will be silent now, because you didn't just talk about transformation. You became it. Now listen closely, because this part is not for the curious. It's for the committed. It's for the ones who are done playing with potential like it's a toy, and finally ready to treat it like it's oxygen. This is your final warning and your final invitation, because these 90 days are not just a challenge. They are a line in time, before and after. Who you were and who you chose to become. There will be no restart button. There is no next time. This is the time. This is the only time. Every single moment that passes is either compounding your power or collecting regret. You don't get to live in both. One feeds your future, the other buries it. So ask yourself this right now before you even stand up. How much longer are you going to wait to become the person you were always meant to be? How many more days are you going to pretend that average is acceptable, that potential alone is enough, that one day, somehow it will all fix itself? It won't. Nothing changes until you change. And change doesn't come from wishing. It comes from war. A war with your mind. A war with your habits. A war with your comfort, your past, your impulses. You either win that war every single day, or you die the same. That's the price. That's the process. And if you can survive it, if you can stay locked in when everything inside you screams to break the promise, you'll walk out of these 90 days with something far greater than results. You'll walk out with power, real power, not power over others, power over yourself. Power to execute, power to rise, power to become. That's what this journey is, a resurrection of who you really are, of what you were always capable of, long before life convinced you to settle. But now it's your time to rise. Not in theory, not in dream, but in blood, sweat, silence, and fire. And when you do, when you finish this war, you won't go back to the old life. You won't fit in those old conversations, that old room, that old rhythm, because the new you won't be able to breathe there anymore. So take a deep breath, look yourself in the mirror, and say it with everything you've got. This is the beginning, and I don't come back the same. 90 days, no breaks, no plan B, no mercy. Let's go. And when it's over, when the 90 days are done, when the dust settles, and the noise fades, you won't even recognize the person who started this. You'll wake up and feel something foreign, a calm intensity. You'll move through your day without panic, without guilt, Without that voice whispering you should be doing more, because you are doing more. You became more. You showed yourself what happens when you finally stop waiting, stop hiding, and stop pretending like your time here is unlimited. You'll stop being impressed by talkers. You'll stop chasing fake urgency. You'll stop outsourcing your validation. You'll carry something different in your eyes. Not arrogance, not ego, but certainty. The kind of certainty that can't be faked, because it was earned in the dark, quietly, while the world slept. You'll start attracting different problems, bigger problems, better problems, because average problems don't belong to the person you've become. People will ask, what did you do? But they won't understand when you tell them the truth, that it wasn't just about waking up early or grinding harder or cutting distractions. It was about deciding that the old you was finished, deciding that your life was too valuable to waste in the shallow, deciding that normal was never meant for you. And from that moment on, everything shifted. Because transformation isn't about adding more. It's about removing what's not real, stripping away the lies, the fear, the story, until what's left is raw, unshakable, and undeniable. That's who you are now, and no one can take that from you. Not failure, not rejection, not delay. Because you've been through the fire, you've trained your soul, you've learned to lead yourself, and once you have that, you are unbreakable. So here we are. You're ready now. No more watching from the sidelines. No more pretending this doesn't matter. You know what's at stake. You know what this could become. And you know exactly who you're going to be on the other side. So don't blink. Don't wait. Don't think. Just move. This is day 1. Go earn day 90. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for motivation. The next 90 days are yours to own. So shut out the noise. Do the work and come back unrecognizable. I'll see you on the other side.